Hello everyone, welcome to Task IAS. Now we complete remaining theories of Unit 6, that is anthropological theories. We have completed till culture and personality school, and today we will discuss about neo-evolutionism. Due to some personal reasons there was delay in uploading some videos, but now I will try to upload daily and we will try to complete this theory part within this week. Another important thing is please like, share and subscribe Task IAS. That will give us continuous motivation to complete whole syllabus of anthropology. So let's start today's session. New evolutionism. We have discussed about classical evolutionism in earlier classes. Now is neo-evolutionism. As time progressed, there are different theories starting from classical evolutionism to diffusionism to structuralism, then functionalism and etc. So, neo-evolutionism, this school has emerged because there was constantly criticism of two main schools, that is evolutionism and diffusionism. And also now there is a tendency to read diversity, and this diversity part was missing in classical evolutionists because they classified evolutionism in simple unilinear terms, that is savagery to barbarism to civilization, and this generalized form of evolution is known as unilinear evolution. Uni means one, linear means linear, that is only one direction of evolution. Here, due to these factors, there is criticism of classical evolutionism and there was some criticism of diffusionism also. But evolutionism as an approach, this has a place in society, but classical evolutionist has lost their prestige. And now in 20th century in US, evolutionism has developed two main currents. First was universal evolutionism, that was given by Gordon Childe as well as Leslie White, and another was multilinear evolutionism, that was given by Julian Steward. And this perspective, this new perspective of 20th century is known as neo-evolutionism. Remember that classical evolutionism was given in 19th century. So idea of evolutionism remained constant, but now there is a new way to define evolution. So we will discuss universal as well as multilinear. Firstly, we will discuss about universal evolutionism, and first is Leslie White. He was a professor at University of Michigan, and according to him, culture evolutionism is as scientific as biological evolution. That means if you can prove biological evolution by giving evidences, by demonstrations, then you can also give evidences and demonstration for culture evolution also. That means he tried to give some scientific reason, scientific formula for culture evolution also. He utilized formula to explain culture evolution, and his theory is known as basic law of cultural evolution. And according to his basic law, culture evolves as per capita energy harnessed. That means how much energy, per capita energy is utilized by a society, that will determine the level of culture evolution of that particular society. And according to him, culture evolution is given as energy into technology. That this culture evolution of that particular society will depend on energy as well as technology. This energy harnessed will depend on technology that was utilized by that society. Now you will understand this formula better when I will give you example. According to him, if some society use greater amount of energy, that means that society is much more evolved in socio-cultural dimension also. For example, you can consider A, B, C, three societies. A society is tribal society, B society is peasant society, and C society is urban society. In tribal society, they use energy in form of food mainly, and this food is taken from environment either in form of animals or plants. That means through food they take energy, and their technology is very simple. That means they use simple basket, or for killing animals they use simple weapons like knife, bow and arrow, etc. So their technology is very simple. Now you can consider another society, peasant society. Consider they have tractor. There may be many intermediate societies as well, but I am explaining by example of three main society. So don't consider that after tribal there can be any semi-developed peasant society also. So that society may exist, but I am considering here only three examples. Now this peasant society may have tractor, they are utilizing electricity, so they have technology superior to tribal societies. Now third one is urban society. This society utilize electrical form of energy. They also utilize now internet or communication. They are utilizing new forms of energy by different revolutions, that is first, second, even now third and fourth industrial revolution also. So they have access to different means of energy. So according to universal evolutionist, that is Leslie White, and according to his basic law, culture C is more developed as compared to B, and B is more developed as compared to A. This is order, and this order depends on how much energy is harnessed by that particular society. And according to him, this technology determined what kind of social cultural life a society have, and this social cultural life includes two parts, that is firstly social system and later is ideological system. So you can consider this is technology part, after that is sociological part, and after that is ideological part. This is a hierarchical order, and if anything changed in technology part, it will change sociological part, and that will change ideological part. And what all will include in these three stages is firstly technology part. Technology is what kind of weapons you will use, what kind of energy you are utilizing. Sociological part includes what kind of social system you have. You have nuclear family, you have joint family, there is any system of political organization. For example, you may have state as an political system, or you have band. That means here in band there is no centralized political system, but in state there is a organized and systematic way to govern societies. So these are different ways or different type of social systems any society can have. Now different values. In ideology you will have different customs, traditions and values, and these can be equalitarian, hierarchical, discriminatory. These are different values. So till now we have understood that Leslie White has given formula, that is culture evolution of a society will depend on energy into technology, and we have understood this formula by three examples. We have also understood his structure, where how change in technology part led to change in social part, that led to change in ideological part. This we have understood till now. So here he has explained that simple small scale hunting and gathering societies that we have considered in tribal society, they are very simple, undeveloped, because they have limited source of energy. And he has mentioned that there is progress from tribal or simple society to peasant to urban society in terms of energy utilization. And according to him, from tribal to peasant society, this phase of development is long. That means here evolution takes longer time, and then peasant to urban society this take less time, because Here they have higher energy, and this higher energy in short time can become very high energy, but here is small energy and it will take more time to become higher energy. So you have understood that evolution from tribal to peasant society is long period, but peasant to urban society is of short duration. That means after some time there is an accelerated cultural development, and once tribal society has converted to agricultural societies, then different cities, and then there is a development of complex states, and further this has led to changes in new ideological values. You can see this clearly because in agriculture society there is centralized authority in family, but as we have developed to new cities or complex states, now there is focus on devolution of power to different members of family. That means there is focus on equalitarian values. So there is a progress, and you can connect this point that once evolution has gone to this phase, then there is repetition of same kind of values, because earlier there is equalitarian, there is more freedom. Now in central or middle phase there was focus on hierarchical, for example in agricultural society. As with time societies have developed, again there is focus on equalitarian society without any discrimination. So you can consider this cycle also, because you can draw these small diagrams to explain your points. That's why I am drawing here. Now you have noticed that Leslie White has given a formula, and this formula is applicable for every society, whether tribal or a urban or complex state. Everywhere is applicable. That means he is giving a general idea of evolution. That's why he is called as general evolutionist. If he has considered different variations, consider every society as a unique, as an individual entity, then this evolution is termed as specific evolution. So you have understood that Leslie White is general evolutionist, and another Marshall, Sahlins and Service, they both are also general evolutionist. So till now we have completed universal evolutionist. First one is Leslie White, his formula, his structure, that is technology to socio-cultural to ideological. We have completed 3 different stages. His idea, also general evolution meaning. Now next is V. Gordon Childe. He is another famous universal evolutionist. He has described his evolutionary thinking in his book, that is Social Evolution. You can mention these books when writing about him. So according to him, we can describe evolution by considering 3 main aspects, and these aspects are invention of food production, urbanization and industrialization. So by considering 3 factors, he can describe whether that society is developed or less developed. He can give a order of development of any society by these 3 factors. You can yourself consider that mode of food production, urbanization and industrialization level can automatically decide other factors, what kind of social cultural system that society will have. For example, if there is a less urbanized society, there is less industrialization, and there is simple mode of food collecting, or you can consider a fishing society, then their social cultural system is entirely different from another society or a metropolitan city which is highly urbanized, highly industrialized, and there is much developed system of food production. It may be food processing or mechanized production. You can easily compare these parts. So according to Gordon Childe, there is also a universal pattern of evolutionism. That means he again also neglecting variations or diversity that was earlier neglected by Leslie White. Thus he and Leslie White both are called as universal evolutionist, and you can consider him also as a general evolutionist. Now his evolutionary scheme is given as this. These are archaeological time period and this is cultural development. Remember that Leslie White has tried to use scientific formula in describing cultural evolutionism, but Gordon Childe has utilized his anthropological knowledge in describing cultural evolutionism. They have similar core points, that is universal evolutionism, general evolutionism, and later Childe also described that these different level of cultural development depend on technology harnessed and energy utilization by a society, but their way of describing it is different by a scientific formula or by comparing it with archaeological time period. Firstly, Paleolithic period. Now consider these time period from your previous knowledge because we will cover them in detail when we will discuss about archaeological anthropology. So firstly is Paleolithic period and it is related with savagery. Neolithic period is barbarism. Copper is related with higher barbarism. Early Bronze Age is civilization. Paleolithic period, this was that time period where tools like hand axes, chopping tools were used, man was naked, and Homo erectus was present at this time period. So when you will have idea regarding archaeological anthropology, physical anthropology, you will connect these points better. But for now, understand it as it is, because savagery, barbarism, civilization, you have understood these terms earlier, that savagery is that consider savagery with simple tribal society which is very egalitarian, which is simple hunting gathering or fishing society utilizing very simple tools for food collection. Barbarism is equivalent to your peasant society where they have surplus food of production but their standard of living is less and their technology utilization again is less. And when you will consider civilization, then they have higher order of technology utilization, very organized form of political and economic system. That means they have modern army, different legislative, judiciary, executive, different branches under political system. That is, civilization is very developed, and barbarism and civilization has intermediate form, that is higher barbarism, where some forms of barbarism and some forms of civilization characteristics will present. That time these terms savagery, barbarism is used, but now in today era using term that is savagery or barbarism looks very ethnocentric. That means you are describing these societies as very inferior because only technology or energy aspect can't describe which society is superior or inferior in cultural social system. So today use of these terms in discipline is avoided generally. Now this time period is progressive, that means Paleolithic was oldest and early Bronze Age is newest. According to Childe, at every stage of cultural development, mankind has used technology to harness natural resources. This point is very much similar to Leslie White's point of technology used to exploit natural resources. Here he has used natural resources, but Leslie White has used term that is energy, but their core idea is same. And at early stage, that is less developed society, use less advanced technology skill, and as their skills to harness natural resources is improved, they become more and more aggressive towards environment in exploiting resources. You can consider this, for example, early men use plow for cultivation, but as their knowledge improved, now they use tractor, and more advanced may use another techniques that I don't know presently. So this shows that as the time progressed, as they have developed technology skill, now their control on natural resources is improved. This point has explained this. So child's work has certain drawbacks also. Some drawbacks specific to this thinker is given here, but always remember at the end of the theory there will be detailed drawbacks, and you can write those drawbacks at the end of every thinker, and you can add these drawbacks later also. So he relied too much on archaeological data to explain culture evolution, because he has not taken into consideration scientific formula as utilized by Leslie White. You can compare and write these points. He did not take any interest in studying civilization outside Middle East and Europe. That means he has focused his study on this area only. Another part is that he has neglected universal institutions, that is matriarchy, sexual promiscuity. These are neglected by him in explaining culture evolution, because matriarchy or sexual promiscuity can be found out in simple societies as well as complex societies, but this phenomena was not explained by Gordon Childe. Matriarchy shows that there is archy means related to authority or power. That means there is rule of woman or mother, and after that that rule is done by her daughter. In sexual promiscuity, there is freedom for sexual choices. Everyone can mate with other one where he or she likes next person. There are no social restrictions imposed on them. So these phenomena are found in different society, but Childe was failed in explaining these phenomena. But although they have some criticism, but both Childe as well as Leslie White has tried to give some universal phenomena of cultural evolution. Now next is multilinear evolutionist, and that is Julian Steward. I hope you have remembered unilinear evolutionism of classical evolutionist, where is only one direction of evolution, that is savagery to barbarism to civilization. Now after that, universal evolutionism, this was of Childe as well as of Leslie White, and in this there are multiple directions. That means there is no limited number of evolutionist pattern, and universal evolutionism you can compare with this diagram, whereas in multilinear there are some parallel between different evolutionary trend of different societies, and this path shows their cultural development. Here Steward focused on how specific socio-cultural systems adapt to environmental conditions. Till now we have discussed that how natural resources are exploited, and these natural resources word is used by Leslie White as well as Gordon Childe, but they have not talked about environmental conditions. Second difference is that earlier they have given general evolution, that means they have focused on universal aspects, but Julian Steward tried to give particular or individual aspect, that is how a particular society behave according to its environment. Similarly, how second society will behave according to this environment, but he has focused on parallelism between these two development patterns of different societies. According to Steward, when culture and ecology interact, they will interact in two different spheres, that is culture core and secondary features. Try to understand that. According to Steward, there is a concept that cultural ecology, and this cultural ecology term signifies that how ecology or environmental condition determine your culture. If you have to understand environment impact on your life, you can understand in two ways. Firstly, environment impact on your physical aspect, because due to environmental effect only concept like race. Why? Negroid has darker skin color as compared to Caucasoid. So physical aspects are impacted. Now second is how environment impact your culture. So this part, environment impact on culture, is studied by Julian Steward. He has given theory on this aspect, and now you can understand that environment has impact on cultural aspect. You can connect with practical examples, like if someone living is polar region, then he has some specific type of dressing pattern as well as eating pattern. Of course, he will take more fatty content in his foods that can act as the insulator against cold. But if someone is living in tropical or subtropical area, he will have another type of dressing pattern where his or her clothes will be lighter in color, lighter in weight, as well as his diet will also include light meal. Thus environment have impact on your cultural life. So according to Steward, when we have to look at environment impact on culture, we can look it into two aspects. First is culture core and second is secondary features. Here culture core is those aspects of culture that are central to any culture, and these aspects are directly impacted by environment. According to Steward, culture core includes your economic activities, your livelihood aspects, because according to environment you will decide which type of economic activity you will do. If you are living in plain areas, then you will probably go for agriculture, but if you are living in coastal areas, then you will go for fishing activities. So this economic active and livelihood aspect is included in culture core, and other secondary aspects include your religion, your marriage type. So these aspects are not directly impacted by environment, but these aspects have a minimum impact, and these aspects, secondary features, will have impact of environment indirectly. That is, this is environment. Here environment impact your culture core, then culture core has some relation with secondary features. That means here is direct impact of environment, but here is indirect impact on secondary aspects. So this is Julian Steward's idea of cultural development and how environment impact culture. Here he has mentioned that secondary aspects include your politics, religion, etc. Here Steward approach is called as specific evolution. Earlier we have studied that Childe and Leslie White approach is called universal as well as general evolution, because they have given a universal formula or universal stages of development, but Julian Steward tried to address each and individual society needs, because here he has tried to explain cultural development of a particular society as well according to his environment. That is, he is going for specific aspects and specific study of each and every society. So his evolution is called as specific evolution. Now he used this specific evolution approach to study various agricultural civilization, that is South America, Mesoamerica, Nearest and Farthest. These are different areas where he has applied his concept, and he found some parallels. Parallels shows that there is some parallel evolution is happening, although there is not same evolutionary stages, but there is some kind of similarity is found, and you will address them with term parallel. And these parallels were similar kind of irrigation system, specialized occupation. Now you can connect these points that when any society will go through development and reach a stage of civilization, that is agriculture civilization, then they will have irrigation system, specialized occupation. Some families will go for agriculture, some others will go for carpentry work, Some others will go for washing or medicine work. So these are occupational specializations. They have centralized governments and formalized state religions. These are some different aspects that he has found in agricultural civilization. According to Steward, these parallels are found because of similar environmental conditions. So he has concluded that these similarities are due to similar kind of environment, because environment has impact on your culture core as well as on your secondary features. You can draw this type of diagrams, so always focus on what I am writing. You can draw these diagrams. Thus his aspect is also called as historical reconstruction. That means he is focusing on particular society and he is trying to focus on historical aspect of that society as well. And he has focused on local variations and diversities. And another aspect is cultural ecology that I have defined earlier, that cultural ecology is interrelationship between environment and your socio-cultural system. But there are some drawbacks in Steward's approach. That means another successor of Steward was Marvin Harris, and Marvin Harris is known for his concept of cultural materialism, where material aspect of culture, that is architecture, buildings, all these features are more included in materialism. So he has criticized Steward for his focus more on non-materialistic aspects. This is one criticism. Second criticism is he was trying to confuse history and evolution. Why this was said? Because when we will study history, then we will focus on every aspect, that is focus on particular aspect, but evolution generally focus on generalization. So in evolution you will try to give some generalization that from this particular point this was a path for evolution. So by giving his concept where he has try to utilize history as well as evolution, that means focused on every individual society, that is variation, as well as try to give some general aspect. This was a not satisfactory approach according to some critics. These both approaches can't go parallel according to these critics. Now next is Sahlins and Service. They are last anthropologists in neo-evolutionist approach. In 1960s, these two anthropologists, Sahlins and Service, they have studied universal aspects as well as multilinear evolutionism of Julian Steward. So after analyzing Steward, Leslie White as well as Gordon Childe approach, they tried to find a common path and common understanding between these thinkers. And according to them, as in biological evolution we can trace path of evolution, in culture evolution also we can understand a general path of evolution as well. And they also try to define what is general evolutionism and what is specific evolutionism, because when they has given these terms general and specific evolution, then in later times we have divided earlier work of Steward and universal evolutionist in general and specific, but this general and specific evolution term is used by Sahlins and Service. I think you have understood now. So general evolution is a grand movement from simple to complex, and this statement clearly indicates that their general evolution is somewhat similar with classical evolutionist unilinear approach. So they have given general evolution that every society will go through this path only. Another is specific evolution, and specific evolution will take into account adaptive measures that any society will take, and it will shows that how With changing environment, every society will take different path of evolution. This is specific evolution. Thus, specific evolution take into account diversity. And now you can conclude that Steward's multilinear evolution is specific, but universal evolutionists were general in their nature. And when you will study specific evolutionism, then there is concept of cultural relativism is also applicable. Always remember that neo-evolutionary aspect is given by US anthropologists, and they have somewhat impact of Franz Boas, and Franz Boas has given concept of cultural relativism. That's why these evolutionists are not anthrocentric, and as well as they try to give focus on diversity as well, as given by Julian Steward. So cultural relativism is also applicable for specific evolutionism. Now, but in general evolution, this cultural relativism is not applicable. General evolutionary trend is absolute, and you can't question general evolution pattern on the basis of changing environmental condition. Sahlins and Service pointed out that cultural change is additive, not substitutive. That means when any culture will change, some aspects are added to it, and there is not a substitution of earlier aspects with new aspects. It also want to say that when new aspects are added during path of evolutionism, then some will accept this additive feature, some will not, but this will be a continuous process, and there is higher probability that earlier aspects of culture will continue. You can understand this concept with an example where newer generation of our society is not that much tilted towards use of clay utensils, but this tilt was shown by our older generations. So you can mention this aspect. And when different culture features are added, they are added through process of diffusionism. Another aspect is that through diffusionism there is much faster dissemination of culture features as compared to genetic transmission. That means here Sahlins and Service has mentioned that through genetics also some cultural features are transmitted, and this was not mentioned by classical evolutionists. I think you have remembered that cultural definition of Taylor has mentioned that culture is transmitted only through socialization, and he has excluded cultural transmission through genetic means. But Sahlins and Service considered genetic transmission as well, and they have mentioned that through diffusion there is early transfer of cultural traits, but through genetic transmission it will take a generation or two generation, and it will be a long process as compared to socialization or diffusion process. So they have mentioned that evolutionary potential is greater in less adapted and less specialized society. These are different points. You can write these different points of Sahlins and Service. Evolutionary potential is another different point. According to them, if some societies at tribal stage, then they have much higher potential of cultural development as compared to a society as peasant level. You can easily understand that tribal will have a long path, that is then peasant, then urban society, but peasant has only urban society. So earlier, that is tribal one, has more potential for cultural development. Now contributions. Here we will discuss general contribution of neo-evolutionists, including multilinear as well as universal aspects. Firstly, they did not assume a unilinear direction of society. That means they have not given a unilinear or only one direction of evolution. That was savagery, barbarism and civilization. That means neo-evolutionists try to accept more diversity as compared to classical evolutionists. Second is they are not anthrocentrically biased or racist in their approach. Classical evolutionist has clearly mentioned that firstly savagery, then barbarism, and then civilization, and their order of happiness is this, that civilization as society are much more happier as compared to savagery. Similarly, ethical and moral values of civilization society are much higher as compared to savagery and barbarism. But here new evolutionists try to mention that every society is particular and they trace their own path of cultural development. This was mentioned by Steward. Even though Leslie White and Gordon Childe has given universal aspects, but in their universal approach also they have not given any anthrocentric views. And one another aspect is that according to them, evolution is always not from backward to progressive aspect. That means evolution can trace a reverse direction also. So this was another important point. This was not given by earlier evolutionists. Earlier evolutionists like Tyler, they have mentioned that evolution always happen from backward to progressive society. And they also have mentioned that some aspects of simple societies are much better and much developed as compared to complex society, and these examples are equality or egalitarian nature of their society. Here equality you can treat between different sexes also, because in simple societies generally notice that they have higher sex ratio and there is less division of labor among simple societies. Now another special contribution of Julian Steward is his concept of cultural ecology, where he has given that how environment have impact on our culture. And this concept, this approach has motivated another thinkers, that is Andrew Weither and Roy Rappaport, for studies on cultural ecology topic. But always remember that from Roy Rappaport I remember one study of Sembaga tribe, where Roy Rappaport has mentioned that in this society there is a popular culture of pig feast, and this feast is done when there is a shortage of food. That means in this society when environment is in unfavor, then they will focus on some religious aspects, that is pig feast. Here Roy Rappaport has mentioned that cultural ecology concept is good, but the classification, that is culture core and secondary features of Julian Steward, has some limitations, because in culture core Steward has focused on economic and livelihood aspects, but according to Roy Rappaport, Sembaga tribe and their culture has shown that how environment has direct impact on religion. So this classification of culture core is questioned by Roy Rappaport. So you can mention that although this was a contribution that different thinkers has gone for study on cultural ecology, but there was some criticism as well. Now limitations of neo-evolutionist school. Firstly, they had not taken historical or political factors. Later Julian Steward tried to consider some historical factor, but general evolutionist has neglected this aspect. Secondly, cultural ecologists try to view every culture aspect as an adaptation. That means they have shown that every cultural aspect has some use, but this is not true. Sometimes our cultural aspects or some traditions become problematic for us, but this aspect is not addressed by cultural evolutionists, and these culture ecologists simply hinted on Julian Steward's approach. Because sometimes your cultural aspect, for you can consider that female feticide practices among Todas of Nilgiris has negative impact on their demography. So what is this? This is their negative aspect, and this negative aspect has impact on their life, but these negative aspects are ignored by cultural ecologists. Another criticism is that they have not focused on material basis of culture. You can correlate it with Marvin Harris, who has focused on material needs. So newcomers in anthropology schools have criticized them that they have focused more on non-material aspects, but culture has both material as well as non-material. Thus they should have focused on both aspects. So that's all for today. I hope you have enjoyed this lecture. This was a slightly lengthy lecture, but I hope you have understood every aspect. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe Task IAS. That's all for today. Thank you.